Yo, where has DanJ been? Where's he been? Right, today I'm back. I'm giving a quick casual 5-minute study tip video. I don't even study no more. But the thing is, this Monday night I did a night shift, and then one of the F1s I was with was talking to me about how, oh, when you become an F1, bare people ask you these questions where you're like, if I had kept up my revision in these certain topics, for example the PSA, then I know more, whereas now I find myself like looking things up. So I might even be renewing my past test or past med subscription in the next few days just to keep up. A couple of people have finals in 5th year, but at the University of Exeter we basically do like AMK style, so applied medical knowledge, 4 times a year. You only have to pass 2 in 5th year, so I did 1 in October and 1 in January, and I'm done now. So the next exams I'm probably doing are like surgical exams if I choose that route, which I feel like I'm leaning towards now, or maybe like general medical exams for anesthetics, which is always another option as well. So before that, I'm just going to give you some tips. I'm here, I'm at the end of my thing, did my SAT, did my PSA, passed 5th year. Yeah, here's some advice. Bloomin' heck. Bloody hell, mate, bloody hell. Right, so we're talking about how to learn. So I've done 5 years of learning, and I guess that qualifies me on how to learn. Obviously I've finished medicine, so clearly I did enough to get here. And I guess it doesn't really matter what route you go on, it just matters that you get your study skills in check so that you can get through, and I guess do as best as you can. And I think we all are only limited by time and patience, really. When it comes to things like academic subjects, we're limited by time and patience. Some concepts might be easier to understand for some, which means you might need more patience in order to actually understand that topic. And then maybe you actually need more time than that to give to a certain topic. And you'll usually find that the people who revise the most do the best, which makes sense. Like, makes complete perfect sense. But anyway, we'll move on to some tips. So number 1, you need to learn to teach. Now it's an easy one, you probably hear it in all these. You have to be able to learn to teach to different levels of people. So you need to be able to learn to teach simply. You need to be able to break down some concepts. So when you're in 1st year, this is basically like not even really worth it for you. But over your progression of your years through any subject, medicine, obviously I've done medicine, but I know you can start very simply and you can start building it up. So you don't need to really learn every single disease in detail that's going to come up on the exam. You can just learn it a little bit and then bit by bit build on your knowledge, and that can be done just through active recall, spaced repetition, past medicine, or whatever you need. And then you also need to be able to teach from memory. So that means remembering things. So you get your notes out, and instead of reading through your notes, test yourself with your notes. The Cornell method is a really good way to do it as well. But I'll touch on that in a bit. Also, you need to be able to find your stumbling blocks. So you need to actually critically analyze your own stuff in order to make yourself better. And you can even get someone else to critically analyze it, or get people to test you, or once again, hop on past med, hop on some question banks, whatever, old questions, and then you can find the gaps in your knowledge and actively try to find them. Don't sit there and go, oh, I'm really good at this subject, I'll just test myself on this because it'll make me feel good. No, you want to feel like, I actually need to work on this. But not too much that you're so stressed that you're like, I don't know anything at all. And then I'd say number 2, find and make a list of common things. So there are very common things in medicine, like all the stuff to do with your heart is quite common, because the average person might just have a heart attack because they're not living a very good lifestyle when they get to their 50s. Or like something like liver cirrhosis, which is not the most common in the average population, but is quite a common presentation in the hospital. Things like that, just find the common things, make a list, and those things are likely to come up in your exams the most, and therefore you can spend your most time on those things without learning like niche things like, I don't know, paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. How many of you know that? If you do know that, let me know down in the comments. So yeah, what I did when I was in 3rd, 4th year, I basically pulled up the Oxford Handbook for Clinical Medicine, Clinical Surgery, and also this book called Top 100 Drugs, which is like a book compiled of a list of best drugs. And I essentially just sat down, made notes, made flashcards and all those sorts of things, watched some YouTube videos and made notes that way, and then made them into Anki flashcards, and then I would test myself on those subjects as well afterwards. So that's progression. You learn a little, you make some notes, which if you can make into flashcard notes like the Cornell method, which is essentially you write your notes on one side and then you write yourself questions that are related to the notes on the other side. You can test yourself with that Cornell question side and also with a question bank. Simple. You got your steps, you're there. And then, like I've been banging on for ages, use question banks. So when I was in first year, second year, third year, fourth year, even to fifth year, I basically hopped on PassMed. I would use the question banks. I didn't really know too much, but I knew enough. So I would hop on there and average maybe like 30%. But every question I got wrong, I'd sit through and go, should I know this? If I shouldn't have known it, then I would sit down and go, right, what's the meaning behind this? What's the learning? And then I'd watch a YouTube video on it, make a little bit of a note, make more flashcards on it because I knew that that would be the better learning opportunity. And then I keep it pushing. And then if I should have known it, I'd be analyzing like, why do I not know it right now? And what part of my revision before and my flashcards before and my systems before had caused this blip. That's another one of those stumbling blocks. You find out why you should have known this thing, but why you didn't know it when you came there. Another thing that I used to do is when I was in exams, I would take down notes of all the questions that were significant that I was like, maybe I should know this, or maybe I've never heard of this. And then I'll just write down the general learning point of that thing. And then I'm quite a fast exam taker, but so long as you have like 10 minutes at the end, you basically just sit down and you look through this list of notes and you try and memorize it. So then I'd memorize what I didn't know, and then by the time I came out the exam, I'd have memorized that and took down notes so that I could later research it so that the next time a question like that came up, I would be prepared. That's one of those high level techniques, but it actually works. And most exams require that you can't tell other people. I mean, you can tell yourself, you've seen the question, but yeah, that's a really good way to do it. If it comes up in your exam and you don't know it, and it's, my medical exams were multiple choice answer questions. So I'd literally write down a little bit of what is this, what's this, what's this. Sometimes I'd look up the answer and be like, yes, I got that right. So I don't really need the learning, and it would just be something that I thought I needed more reassurance on. But other times it would be something new. For example, the first time in the exam that I saw things about kwashiorkor and marasmus, which are conditions that I had rarely seen on past medicine. I actually hadn't seen them yet at that point. I wrote it down and I learned what those were. There was a nice mnemonic video on YouTube. And yeah, that was just a great way for me to study. So those are my 3 tips and I guess some gems of knowledge from my 5 years. Obviously, I'm wrapping up now. Got elective coming up in the next month. Got another week in the life coming up too. It was meant to come out about 3 weeks ago, but that week, I basically just ended up crashing off that week. I can't remember what happened, and it was all over the place. But this next one should be good, and I'll keep you posted with whatever's going now. So thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments your study tips, whether these helped you, whether you're going to implement them, and I'll talk to you in the next video.